Welcome back. So we've gotten our stairs in. We're framed in. I think it's time that we are going to make this house look a little bit better and start thinking about our finish, siding, and stuff like that. So today is going to be a little weird because I'm kind of going along. I don't have a super specific plan about how I want to do this. So we're just going to do this together and hope it turns out okay. Most of the time, my thought process was, well, we'll do plywood like would normally happen on a house to create the structure using panels on the outside and on the roof. It might get a little tedious. Oh, I think we're just going to mimic what siding would look like. So underneath, if you have a stucco house, if you have something that's got lap siding on it, underneath that is going to be the, 1/2 inch or 3/8 inch plywood that provides the structure that holds everything together. But I'm going to skip that part just because it would make it a little bit more difficult. Now, this is going to be a little tricky. I'm going to start with the outside of this house. Or actually, I take that back. I thought we were going to start with the outside of the roof. So the way to do that is it's going to be a little tricky here. So we're going to get to where we're looking at the left side of the house and we're looking straight on, okay? And we're going to create a part studio in context. So, and we're just going to, rather than create a bunch of pieces of plywood, we already learned that how we have to stagger things with the floor of the house. I'm just going to have you make one big piece. So we're going to start a new part studio by saying create part studio in context. We do have to have a mate connector. I forgot that part. So we're going to have to put in a mate connector, and let's put that mate connector right up here on the very peak of the roof. Right there. So it's just facing outward. Okay. And we're going to be good. Let's find it down here at the very bottom and call that mate connector, right click on it, rename it, and call it roof. Now, we're going to start a new part studio. We're going to start it on this mate connector, okay, and say, okay, good. Now this will fade everything out like it's done before. Oops, not what I meant to do. To move that, and it's giving us those 3 principal planes like we've had before. Now it just so happens that mine is the top that is right there, and that's what I'm going to sketch on. I'm going to sketch on that top. I'm going to have to hover over that. You could choose this surface, I suppose. I know that that top view goes with that, and I'm going to hit N for normal, so I know I am with that. All right, now I've decided, I think, not to put a fascia board on here. But maybe we'll reconsider that. We'll put a fascia board on there to hide the ends of those boards later. So we're going to have to do some things here to get this looking right. So let's go ahead and zoom into here. We're going to start sketching. We're going to make a line. We're going to get up to this point. Oh, I'm going to have to use some things. So up here is use projector convert. We're in this, we're in a sketch. So we're going to click on that, and I'm going to use some edges. I need that edge. I need that top edge. This is going to be what we use. I need this edge here. I probably didn't need to click on this end, but that's okay. And now we can take a line, go ahead and click on the line command. We can hover over this and hook to that end, and we're going to come out. Now see how it makes that parallel? I need it to do that. Now I am not going to put in a number. I'll explain why in just a minute. I'm going to click there. Okay. Now I'm going to go straight up a little bit. Do not have it with a with that little yellow, see that little yellow dotted line? I don't want it that way. So make sure it does not line up to make a right triangle. We don't want that. So go up a little bit or down a little bit. Click. And now we're going to go out and we're going to go parallel again. Now, on this next one, we're going to zoom way out before I click. And this is really hard to do with zooming. And there we go. I'm going to click on the top view to get, oh, that's crazy. Hold on, I'm going to flip around. I still haven't set the end of that yet. And this thing's in my way. And we're going to go back. There we go. All right, so I'm going to zoom out, way in, way out. You might have to practice this a few times. I'm going to be, see how I'm being parallel? And now this one I am going to line up straight up from there and click because I want there to be what's called a miter there. And then down to close it in. You should have that gray closed in area when you're done. All right, now what I want to do is this part over here, I'm going to put in a 3/4 inch fascia board. And I want it to hang about a 1/4 of an inch over that. So we're going to dimension using your dimension tool from this little point right here to that edge. We want that to be 1 inch. Okay? And the last thing we will do is we will do a dimension from here to here and make that 3/4 inch plywood, 0.75. Now, if that all went wrong, you're going to have to go back and maybe watch that again and do that part over again. That's why I make these videos short, just in case things went wrong. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Now, I'm going to make it easy on myself, and rather than redraw everything, I've already got a line right here that I can just mirror everything across. So I'm going to select a bunch of stuff. I'm going to hit escape, right click and hit escape dimension. I really wish it would stop doing that when I click on the view cube. There we go. And I'm going to select all of these lines that I just make this profile. That one and that one and that one. Zoom out and zoom down here. I also need this one and that one so that you get every part of that enclosed profile. And we are going to now mirror that. So click mirror. It says select a mirror line. I'm going to zoom in and select that line as my mirror line. Oh, I have to say select a mirror line. Click. I don't know why this isn't doing what I want it to do. If I hit enter, is it going to do it? I don't see any mirror command. I think I'm doing something wrong. Let me try that again. Why don't I just, I'm going to hit mirror first. It says select a mirror line. So I'm going to click that. And now, oh, select entities to be mirrored. I want that and that. And notice it's doing it for me. I have to go back down here again. Sorry, I thought that would work. And I need that and I need that. Now, when I zoom out, it should have show that it's got this gray. Yes, see how it's highlighting gray? And we are good. I think I can hit escape mirror now and it leaves that in there. Now, I'm going to extrude this twice because I need to have some overhang. There's going to be some trim here and I need that trim to have the roofing come over it. So we're going to go out the 1.5 inch trim plus a 1/4 of an inch hanging over. So we'll do that first. So let's extrude. We're going to, let's finish sketch 1. And we are going to extrude sketch 1. Let's see which way it's going. It's going the correct way. And I'm going to extrude it 1.75. The 1.5 inch trim that's going to be there plus the 1.75. Now, we are looking good, I hope. Let's zoom in to see if it did that. Nice. Okay. Now we're going to do that same thing again, but we're going to go the other way. But I need some measurements here. I need to know how far it is. myself out of the way, from that point right there, in other words, one end of the house to the other end. Now, I believe it's 42 feet, 200 and something inches, right? From there to there, 504. Okay. So I need to remember that. I'll write it down. I forget things. 504. All right. So, out of my way. All right. So I'm going to extrude again. Now, I want it to join, so I'm going to make sure it clicks. I click add. Okay. And what do I want to extrude is sketch 1 again. Okay. Now this time I want it to go the other direction, and the distance I'm going to go is that 504 plus that inch 0.75. So that's going to be 505.75, inch and 3/4 more. Okay. Enter will give me a little preview, and I'm adding it to make sure that it becomes all part of sketch 1. And good. So when I look at this, it should overhang a little bit on each end, which it does. So it's overhanging a little bit. All right, cool. Now think about what you want your roof to look like. Now it's going to be a solid color, so there's not, so you can make it kind of your standard tan or brown shingles. You know, whatever you want that to be is fine. I'm going to go and rename part 1 and just call it roof. Let's call it roofing. Okay, and we're going to edit the appearance for that to whatever you want. Yeah, like grayish. You can do whatever you want. If you want a purple roof, have a purple roof. I don't care. Kind of weird though. But you do you. All right, cool. So we made our roof for the house. In fact, I'm going to go back here and rename this and call it, let's call it roofing house. There's going to be roofing for the garage. And I am going to try and remember what I did there when I edited the appearance, that I'm 3 up from the left side. So I'm going to kind of write that down, draw myself a little picture so I make the garage roofing be the same thing. All right, so now we can insert and go to assembly. Unless, I wonder if I can do the same thing on the other side. Let's see what we can do with that. Before I make a new assembly, I might be able to do this same thing over here in the garage while we're in this. So let's try it and see how it goes. I told you this was going to be a little bit of trial and error. All right, so I think what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to put a plane. Let's see if we can do that. Hover in. Oh, I can do it. All right. I'm going to offset it from the end of that garage. So I clicked at the very end of the garage, and I'm going to offset that, that plane, the 1 3/4 inches, 1.75, the same as we did on the other one. I already see that it's coming out and away, and that's what I want it to do. And good. All right, cool. We'll be able to do this in One Part Studio. Now we're going to sketch on this plane. And we're going to say N for normal to view normal to the house. We're going to, again, project some edges. Now this one's going to get tricky because I'm looking at it where I've got all sorts of stuff in the way, but I'm going to do, I need that line and I need that top line. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing that we did before. It's going to be a little tricky because there's going to be all sorts of stuff in the way. So I'm going to come out from there, making sure that I'm parallel. I need it to be parallel to that line. If you hover over it, it might help you do that. Now, it doesn't matter how far we go out because I'll fix it later. Making sure I'm parallel, click. Now I'm going to come straight up, but not make a right triangle with that other spot. It doesn't matter as long as if you zoom in, we're going to be at about 3/4 of an inch, right? So somewhere in the neighborhood of 0.75-ish, but you have to make sure that you're vertical. Click. Okay. Now the same way as we did before, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to hover and go up and make sure that I have two things show up, that I'm being vertical and that I am straight up. And now we're going to finish that and click there. Now we're going to do the same thing we did before. Right click escape line. I'm going to click on my mirror command. I'm going to, it says select a mirror line. That little line is going to be my mirror line. My entities are that and that. And I have to go back down to the bottom to get those little ones, remember. And that and that. So when I zoom out and zoom back in, I should have a gray profile. I do. And now I can right click and hit escape mirror. All right, cool. So I can go finish sketch. Now we're going to extrude that sketch. Extrude. Okay, I'm going to extrude sketch 2. Let's see which way the arrow is pointing. It's pointing outward. I want it to go the other way. And we're going to go up to face that I choose. So I'm going to choose up to face. And here's the part where you got to be careful. We're going to come up to this outside face of the house trusses. So it's a little hard to see. I'm coming up to that face right there. Click. And looking good. And say good. It's going to make a separate part. It has to because they're not connected together. I'm going to turn off the visibility of plane 1 and come down here to part 2, rename it as roofing garage. And we're going to make it that same. I suppose you could make it different. I'm going to make it the same, and I got my roofing done. Cool. I'm going to insert and go to assembly and see how that's looking. Select items to insert. I want that and that. Cool. All right. So we got our roof done. So now it can rain on us and we can finish up the interior and stuff of the house. All right, we're looking pretty good. All right, now let's start getting some siding on this house and start getting it looking cool. So here we go. We're going to use that same connector that we had for the roof to start another part studio. You have to think about what color you want your house to be now. So you're going to get two things. You're going to get a base color and a trim color. So it is totally up to you what you do with that. I think this house would look good as like kind of a cream color with some white trim. But I'll have to think about that a little bit, about what I want to do. And I can always go back and change it. So I'm going to start with that premise. So we're going to create a new part studio again. And the make connector that we're going to choose is way down at the bottom. It was that one called roof. Okay, because it's in the right spot anyway. We're going to say, okay, good. Okay, now that's going to bring up a bunch of those. We're going to, again, sketch on the top. So I'm going to come over to the right click on the top, say I want a new sketch. Okay, now, I want to just bring myself straight to this. So I'm not going to flip it around again. I'm just going to hit N for normal this time. Now, you got to be careful with what we're doing. We already have this roof up here, so you got to be careful which lines we are choosing. So here's how this is going to work. We're going to have a piece of 1x4 that is going to come down as a piece of trim. So I'm not going to do that part. So here we go. Be very careful as to what we're choosing. I'm going to choose that part right there to start a line. So we're going to choose line. I might need to project some things. I'm going to need to do that. So let's start getting what we need. I'm going to project. I need a spot right here. So let's just get some points. That one. I need this point right here. Like we're going to kind of go around the house here. Now, I'm going to click this point down here. Click. Same thing on the other side. This point down here at the bottom of where the joists are. This point at the top of the wall. This point over here. And finally, this one's going to be tougher because I need a point right about here that's lined up with this. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a point there and a point there. Okay, I know what I need to do. So now that I've got that, I'll start up here at the top. So I need two lines. Watch carefully. I'm going to hook it up to that point I just made. Now I'm going to make sure I'm parallel to, I'm going to make sure I'm lined up here, but I also need to be parallel to this line. Okay, hold on. Hit escape, or let's escape out of that. I also need to project this line and this line. So let's do that. Project or this line and that line. Otherwise, I have nothing to be parallel to, right? So, all right. So now I can go ahead and do that. Make my lines. Now I should be able to do it. See how it's being parallel to that? And I want it to be vertical to this. So two constraints should show up. See those two constraints? Parallel and vertical. Click. Now I'm going to come down to this point. Click. Okay. Cool. Now we can close in the rest of our shape. Oh, you know what, folks? Now that I had you do that, well, that's all right. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to use that also. So, oh yeah, we are going to use that because we're down here. Okay, I know what I'm doing now. Sorry. All right. Trial and error. I'm going to click on the end of that since I have this line already. Come down to this point down here that we made already. Click. Now I'm going to make a line from that point over to this point. Click. Don't assume that because those lines are already there that you made a line. You didn't, right? Click down to there. We're going to come down to this point. Now, the siding generally will come below this edge right here. So I'm actually going to come below that point. I'll explain why in just a minute. Okay, and now we're going to come over here. Make sure you're not accidentally lining up. Now, I am going to line up with that. I'm going to be, so two things. I'm both vertical with this, and I'm also parallel, or I'm also making sure that I'm straight both ways. Click there. Now we're going to come up to this point. Click. Line from there to there. And the last one is the line from here up to there. And it should turn gray. Good. That means that I'm all enclosed. That's the way it should be. Now what we're going to do is think about it. You got a seam right here where the wood meets on the concrete, right? You don't want water getting in there. So we're going to do, let's do just a 1-inch overlap so that goes over the foundation. So what will happen is when rain's hitting that, it doesn't make its way into the foundation. It just drops off. So we're going to dimension from here to here. Make that just 1 inch. Good. All right, so now we've got our siding, or now I forgot though that we need to make the windows. So we're gonna need a couple more. Now on this wall, we only have one window. So here's how we're gonna do this. We're gonna project a few more things. So let's project. We're going to do 4 corners. We're going to do the inside corners of this window opening. That, and that. Probably could have projected the lines. In fact, I'm just going to draw lines. Or I could draw a rectangle. Let's draw a rectangle. I could have done just 2 points. Trial and error, folks. Sometimes I could have made it easier on myself. All right, so now we've got that window that's going to be open. All right, good to go. We've got our sketch done. Check. And we're ready to extrude that. And we're going to come outward away from the house. So make sure the arrow is coming away from it. We're going to extrude sketch 1. Look for the arrow. It is coming away from the house. And we're going to make that 0.75, typical thickness of siding. Okay. Now, here's where we're going to make that whatever color we want. I don't think I'm going to rename it yet. Appearance, I want kind of a yellowish house, although I don't want, maybe I'm going to do a teal looking house. Ew, I don't like that. Maybe I'm going to do a green house. I think I'm going to do a green. I'll do green with, you do you. You want a purple house, make a purple house. I'm going to do that top green one. That's going to be my color. And good. Now, we are going to make this a little more interesting than the way that it is right now. And that will be the last thing we do for this video. So I'm still working on this. Now, what I need to do is I'm going to make my siding. We're going to use horizontal siding for this. There's different types of siding. There's vertical and horizontal and so on and so forth. And what I need to do is I need to offset a plane from this edge. See where I'm zooming in? From this surface right here, we're going to offset a plane, and we're going to come far enough out that it goes beyond this. So we could go, remember it came 72 inches to here, so we'll go like 80 inches, okay? So click plane. We're going to offset from this, click on that surface. Now I can't see the arrow in which way it's going right now. So I'm going to have to put in my 80 and see which way it goes. And I think it went the wrong way. Wait, it is not wanting to show up. Oh, I chose accidentally 2 faces. Let's see if I can choose that. Oh, it's second lunchtime. I'm not sure why that plane is not showing up. I'm going to just check it and just see what happens. Oh, where that is coming way out there. That is not what I wanted to do at all. So I'm going to just delete that. Actually, I'm not going to delete it. You might need to start this over again. I'm not going to go from whatever that is. My face that I'm going to go from is this right here. There we go. Now it's going the right way. All right. And we're going to hit check, as long as you've got a plane that's coming out here. And we are going to sketch on that plane that we just made. N for normal. Make sure it kind of goes that way. And now see how we're seeing this, this edge? So we're going to make some grooves in this about every 4 inches, or maybe 5 is what's typical for lap siding. So we're going to start from the bottom, and we're going to pretend that's a bottom edge, and we're going to make a little triangle here. So use a line. I'm going to zoom way in, okay? So I'm looking at this. I am going to have to project this outside edge. That outside edge. I don't know why it won't show me under the plane. That's kind of weird. Or, oh, I see, because this is in front. So you need to get somewhere where we're checking on that. And for normal again. Now I have that outside edge. And what we're going to do is we're going to make this triangle that looks kind of like this. So follow along with me. We're going to come up and over and make a right triangle that looks like that. So I'm going to do that again just to make sure we know what we're doing. Line command. We're just hooking up somewhere. I'll figure that out in a minute. And we're coming in a certain amount and then over straight. So make sure that it is horizontal, or in this case, it's actually, because the view cube C is this way, it's actually making it vertical, because this is vertical, because if you look at the view cube, there, we're going to click there. Okay, now let's do a little dimensioning. And let's make this 1/4 of an inch. 0.25. And let's make the distance from here to here 1 inch. Okay. Now we're going to make this, let's do 5 inches and see how it looks. We can always change it later. So I'm going to dimension again from the bottom point of the triangle to the bottom of the piece of plywood, and we will make that 5. All right, now watch how this works. We're going to finish the sketch, and we're going to extrude this last sketch. But this time, instead of adding it, I am going to remove, whoops, up here, remove. And we're going to go through all. Now it's showing it as red, but I'm hoping that it will do this because it is hitting this point right here. Oh, my merge scope needs to be with part 1. So if it's showing this and it doesn't like it, my merge scope is with part 1. There we go. Okay. And now I have that little groove. Looks good. Check mark. And last thing we're going to do is we're going to do a pattern. We're going to go all the way up. So I hope this works right. We'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work, we'll fix it in the next class because we need to be done with this for today. So let's go up here to pattern. We're going to do a linear pattern. I'm going to do a part pattern, an entity pattern. We're going to do a feature pattern, okay? The feature to pattern is I want to do this extrude that we just did. The direction is going to go upward along a line like this. We're going to go a distance of 5, and my instance count will be however many. Now it's going the wrong way. I have to flip it. We're just going to roll that until it gets all the way up to the top, and it should extend since we're going through all. Uh-oh, it's not letting me. It must only let me do a certain number of instances. Why is it not letting me do more than 8? Oh, I think it's because it's hitting the window. And it sees a separate edge there. I'm just going to hit check mark. I can go back and edit it. I bet it turns red. It turns red. So I'm going to go back there and down there again and go 9. All right, folks, I'm going to have to think about a fix for this because I don't know why this is happening this way. So here's what I would like you to do. Wherever we are right here, go ahead and get as many as you can get. I'm going to hit check mark just to have it. And I know it's not going all the way up. So I need to figure out how to deal with that pattern. But we'll figure it out. And we'll do that next time. So I hate to insert and go to assembly, but we'll fix that next time. It's okay. Let's insert and go to assembly. And it said, what parts do you want? I want that part. Okay. And let's go ahead and get a picture of this with our roof. and our sides, something like that. And we'll call it a day until next time. All right, folks, we'll see you next time where we'll try and fix that, and I'll try and figure out how to make it better. And we'll go from there. All right, see you next time.